When you absolutely, positively don't want to hear any more bull, listen to American Liberty Radio Network, AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. American Liberty Radio Network, AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. How are you? I'm doing okay. Got the whole sinus thing going. I woke up today. That's why I got a late start on recording, because I spent most of the morning trying to get my nose clear. So, you got any remedies out there? No, not the neti pots. Those are, I just don't like those. But hot sauce usually works. So, whoops. Anyway. Just gotta get all this stuff out of here. Anyway, folks, good day to you. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Whichever, whenever you're listening to this, Whenever you're listening to this. I don't know when you're listening to this, so. Shall we move on? Kit Daniels at Infowars.com, the 3rd of August, 2017. Trump to Nieto, Mexican President Nieto. Quit saying you won't pay for the wall. In private talks, Trump held true to campaign promise. This is from Kit Daniel, Infowars.com. Holding true to his campaign promise, President Trump told Mexican President Enrique Nieto to stop saying Mexico won't chip in for a border wall during a private conversation. It's a stark contrast to Hillary Clinton, who famously admitted her public policies were different from her private ones. Quote, if you're going to say that Mexico is not going to pay for a wall, then I don't want to meet with you guys anymore because I cannot live with that, unquote. Trump said to Nieto in a January 27th phone call, apparently leaked to the Washington Post. And, as expected, the mainstream media is trying to spin the leak to create a divide between the president and his supporters. Quote, in a line likely to surprise some Trump supporters, the president described the wall as, quote, the least important thing we're talking about, but politically this might be the most important, unquote. Reported The Hill. Okay. The Hill, excuse me. Trump is right, actually. For one, if it wasn't for NAFTA, illegal immigration would have never exploded the way it did. The American jobs would have stayed in America. Instituted in 1994 by former President Clinton, the North American Free Trade Agreement led to the closure of thousands of Mexican farms, causing migrant laborers to head north to find work, as well as the loss of thousands of American jobs as companies stopped building factories in the U.S. Quote, the U.S. manufacturers pay Mexican workers just a little over $1 an hour to do jobs that American workers used to do, and the number of illegal immigrants living in the United States has more than doubled since the implementation of NAFTA, unquote, reported journalist Michael Snyder. President Trump has always opposed NAFTA, and he's publicly stated so numerous times. But in a public arena, what's more exciting to hear? The phrase build a wall or kill NAFTA? Of course, it's build the wall. And that's why it's politically the most important. But Trump is also revamping NAFTA. Building a wall is, in practice, less important because it only treats the symptoms of illegal immigration. Renegotiating NAFTA, in contrast, treats the cause. It's rare for a politician to simultaneously treat both the symptoms of the problem as well as its cause, but that's exactly what President Trump is doing, and the mainstream media doesn't want you to realize that. Yeah, there you go. This is going up on American Liberty Radio Podcast. I say build the damn wall and repeal NAFTA. Former presidential candidate Ross Perot said literally that there was a giant sucking sound of people leaving. And businesses leaving the U.S. if NAFTA was passed and all of that. And sure enough, he was right. Okay, so build the damn wall. Repeal NAFTA. I don't really give a crap what people think. Well, those people are trying to get over here and make a better life for themselves. It's been going on for years. It's been going on since Nixon was president, and probably earlier than that. So I don't want to hear it anymore. Close the damn wall. Build the wall, close the damn border, because I'm sick of it. I'm not a isolationist. I'm not prejudiced. I'm not any of that. So shut the hell up. Don't try to spin that to your own agenda. We are a country that is on the verge of collapse, and if we keep the borders open, all of these people are going to come in here. Companies are going to start losing quality people, and they're going to suffer. And they already have in the last 20 some odd years. And I don't give one freaking rip what you think financially these companies are worth. These companies start bringing in all of these people, it's going to freaking collapse the economy in the United States of America. Here, let me give you a macro example of this, or a micro example of this. California, Washington, and a few other states that raised their minimum wage to $15 an hour are no longer have those businesses in those states, or those businesses right now are on the verge of collapse because they cannot, pay those people $15 an hour. So no, close the damn border. Economics 101, my mama taught me, was don't spend any more money than what you make. And if the government is only making so much every year from taxpayers, that's all they should budget, period. Get rid of the Federal Reserve, get rid of the IRS. Get rid of them. Abolish them completely. And do what we have to. And frankly, it would be much better. And over a period of time, economically, the country would grow faster at a particular point than it has in the last 25 to 30 years. You allow the states to be the states that they are within the United States of America, abolish centralized government, abolish the Federal Reserve, and go from there and get rid of the IRS. Within 18 to 24 months, you're going to see a growth. And then after 24 months into the 36 or 48 months, you're going to see a massive growth in economy in the U.S. Any of you number crunchers out there want to verify that or tell me I'm wrong? Go ahead. Go to American Liberty Radio Podcast on Facebook and tell me about it. You know I'm right. I might be a little off on my percentages, but here's a big story, holy crap, that just came across my my computer screen. Jamie White over at Infowars.com, 3rd of August 2017. McMaster's purging key Trump allies. Deep state coup rooting out patriots from White House. National Security Advisor, if I can speak, National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster's is targeting longtime Trump loyalists who have been at odds with the career government holdovers from the Obama administration. The purge is part of an unfolding clash between Trump staffers committed to the president's America First agenda and Washington bureaucrats determined to maintain the swamp status quo. McMaster's has a list of targets loyal to Trump that he's going to phase out over the next 2 weeks, said an administration insider. Quote, they're taking out people who were chosen to implement the president's policies that he articulated during the campaign, unquote. He added, quote, McMaster's agenda is different from the president's, unquote. There's your head of the coup right there. There it is. You take out the people loyal to the president, and if you're in charge of that and you bring in and you allow the deep state to bring in their people, you want to talk about communism and fascism and tyranny and all of that? You're going to have it. You're going to have it. One of the latest victims of this purge is Rich Higgins, the National Security Council's strategic planning director, who penned a memo detailing domestic and international threats to Trump's presidency, including the alliance between the globalists, bankers, and Islamicists seeking to destroy America. Quote, globalists and Islamicists recognize that for their visions to succeed, America, both as an ideal and as a national and political entity, must be destroyed, unquote, the memo warns. The memo was circulated among people who worked on the Trump campaign outside of the White House until it reached the desks of NSC members. Higgins was called into the NSC office to be questioned about the memo and consequently fired by McMaster's in late July. Excuse me. That's going up on American Liberty Radio podcast. Sorry for the silence there, folks. Anyway, the coup is beginning. The coup against the American president is beginning. The collapse of the American ideal of the peace, freedom, security, and liberty that we have in this nation is coming to an end. And I'm telling you right now, these people, seriously, these people are going to stop at nothing until the United States of America is destroyed. There is absolutely there's no apologies made from the left. I'll tell you why, I'll tell you why all of this is happening, and it's real simple. The globalists, the leftists, the progressives, all of that, they got their hand caught in a cookie jar. They like all that taxpayer money going into their pockets and paying for everything else and jacking up our taxes every year so that we pay for their agenda. They're stealing this country is what they're doing, and they're financially destroying it from within. President Trump is trying to stop that and drain the swamp. Is he perfect? No. Does he have issues? Oh, I'm sure he does. Just like everybody else on this planet. But it comes down to this. It comes down to the very basic fabric of peace, freedom, liberty, and security for the nation of the United States, standing on the rule of law of the Constitution prior to 1871 and fulfilling our destiny as the greatest nation in the world throughout history. We've been around for 241 years, folks. At some point, somebody did something right, And we are here, and that conflict began between the globalists and the elites and all of that, and the people and the patriots, began with the signature of President Ulysses S. Grant on the Act of 1871. We need to repeal that too. That will get rid of Washington, D.C. right at, just cut the head off of the freaking political snake right there. You have to really focus your attention on what can be done, not on what, excuse me, let me rephrase that. There's a reason why I'm saying this. You have to focus your attention on what is and what is happening right now, and make plans to do what must be done to accommodate for the patriots and the free people of the United States of America. If you cannot do that, then the weak link is just broke. We the people can look out at America, at the landscape of what we have, and see hope. And we have faith that we can achieve the greatness that we have always desired. But it comes down to this. Are you going to put on your war paint and stand strong? Or are you going to put on your diapers and sit in the corner and cry like a frickin' baby? You got to make your choice, and you got to make your choice today, the 3rd of August, 2017. Because if the coup has started, we have to fight back. And yes, folks, I said that. We have to defend this nation beyond what we're even imaginable or imagining that we are capable of. Well, I don't want to get out and protest because, I got a job to go to and a family to take care of. And I don't want to go out and be a burden to society because, I don't want to be inconvenienced. Oh, and here's the greatest excuse, which begins with the downfall of society as in itself. I hear people in various levels of existence say, I don't want to hear the negative things because I don't want it ruining my day. Then listen up, jackass. How about getting up and defending your home and defending your city and defending your neighborhood and doing what is right and piss on being inconvenienced? We've had it. We've measured ourselves for so long that within this season of greatness, we have this opportunity to look out at our enemy and say, bring it on. Because I guarantee you, the people that are standing there wanting to defend the nation and will defend the nation are going to look at our enemies and look them in the eyes. And our enemies are going to be pissing themselves and crapping their pants because they're going to see an immovable wall of patriotism with the banner of freedom hanging over them and the trumpets of liberty sounding out so loud that it's going to bust their freaking eardrums. That's what we are, people of the United States of America. And if you ain't got the balls to do any of that, then I got one phrase for you. Pack your shit and get out of the country. We have a country right now that is on the brink of total and absolute collapse. We have McMaster's in there bringing together all these people to engage in a coup against our government, against the President of the United States of America. That is a treasonous act. And as far as I'm concerned, within the definition of the acts of war, that is an act of war. Now either stand up, get ready, and stop whining, you little bitches, and get out there and do something. Or be the whiny, pansy-ass little bitch that you are. Sit in your corner and cry like a freaking baby. You got nothing. You got nothing to make an excuse for not to protect this nation, your neighborhood, your cities, your states. And you have absolutely no excuse now. None. Oh, and somebody's probably going to yell at me and scream at me and ask me, what are you going to do? Hey, if there's 10, 12, 50 people, whatever, that need a leader to protect this nation, you're looking at them. Or you're hearing them right now. I will do everything I can to protect this nation against enemies foreign and domestic, because years ago I took an oath, and that oath does not expire. And all you patriots out there, all you military and former military or National Guard troops know exactly what I mean. There have been generals upon generals upon generals that have been fired by Obama because they stood up against that tyranny. They stood up against what he stood for. They would not go along with what his plans were, and guess what? They were fired. I think up to 15 generals were fired. And let me tell you what. There are more generals, there are more lieutenants, there are more admirals, there are more, a lot of military are on the side of the people, saying, no, we're going to defy every order that comes down the line that says that we have to go against the American people. I guarantee you it's not going to be the happiest day of anybody's life when you get military coming through your city, into your neighborhoods, knocking on your door, taking your weapons, doing everything, or taking you out of your home and taking you elsewhere to a residential facility called a FEMA camp. And don't give me this crap that they don't exist. I've known they've existed for quite some time. When George W. Bush was elected president, close to a year before 9/11, when he was elected president, I did a little research. And guess what? Within that research, certain things popped up, and I had questions. And so I kept searching. And I found that in the early 2000s, 2001, 2002, shortly after the inside job of 9/11, certain loyalists to the globalists who were generals and all of that and who sided with the globalist agenda were ordered to put personnel in these camps, in these abandoned places or in these other areas that were about ready to, get remodeled and everything like that. Oh, I found this out 2002, actually. Spring of 2002, I found this out. And I went, what is this all about? And I began to search. And then when this television show, Jesse Ventura's Conspiracy Theory, came out, and he started looking at all of this, I thought to myself, hey, wait a minute, I went back and looked at my research, and I remembered it out of my memory, and I went, yeah, and I remember this, and I remember that. But it was before that, I believe, that I was watching, I was watching Fox and Friends one day, and Glenn Beck was on there, and he says, I got evidence. And he said, and you can go look this up. Go look on YouTube. Fox and Friends, Glenn Beck, FEMA camps. Go look this up. It's on YouTube. I saw it when it was aired, okay? When it aired. He was talking about FEMA camps. He also talked about it on his radio show that afternoon. And that evening when he had his show on Fox Business, he looked into the camera, started his monologue. He says, I got this, I got that. And he said that he had evidence. On Fox and Friends, he had evidence of FEMA camps. On his television show later that evening, he says, I was going to talk about FEMA camps. And he walks closer to the camera, and he says, but they don't exist. And then he winks at the camera, gives a stage whisper, and says, they told me to say that. Somebody got to him. Shortly thereafter, he left Fox Business and started his own thing. But he doesn't talk so much specifically about that. He'll allude to that, but he won't. Why? Sponsors. He's on, I think, Premium or Clear Channel, one of those two. They exist, folks. They exist in North Dakota. They exist here in Montana. They exist in California. They exist in Colorado. And I can go down the list and tell you where they're at. There's also these things called deep underground military bases. Yeah. Go check those out. There's one here in Montana. There's a couple in, there's several in California and Nevada. And how do I know this? You really don't want to know how I know this. But I do. Because in the last 40 years, I've been researching all this stuff. And certain areas of my research has led me to certain other areas, which I've researched in depth. And other things that have allowed me to find out all this other information. So I know all of this stuff, folks. I know every last bit of it. So anybody that tells me I'm a conspiracy theorist can go stick their head in the sand, because you know what? I'm not. I know the truth. I know the facts. And if you start looking yourself, you'll know the truth and facts. And if you think that you know something, but it really isn't true, chances are you're looking in the wrong place. I wanted to rant just a little bit because in the last few days I've just been holding in a whole lot. So I really appreciate you listening, and I do. I just sincerely appreciate the fact that you listen. And if I get beyond the news and all that and just rant, then, thank you for being patient and sticking around and listening to that. I appreciate that. But I'm telling you the truth. You deserve honesty. You deserve truth. And if you're just going to turn a blind eye to it and just walk away and say, yeah, you're full of crap. Hey, pack your crap and get the hell out of the country, because obviously you don't want to be an American and know the truth and know the facts and understand what this government is doing to you against you. How's that? You don't like it? I just really don't care. Honestly. You need to wake up. It's like your dad when you were younger coming into your bedroom and shaking the bed and waking you up. You need a harder shake than that, I can tell you. I'm going to go to break, folks. I'm going to clear my nose and clear my throat, and I'll be right back. This is American Liberty Radio Network, AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Growing up terrestrial radio, the future is here. Destroying the liberal media, one truth bomb at a time. Independent media is shattering the liberal national security media into a million pieces. Their views of the world are based on the script the government gives them. Independent media seeks out and finds the truth and reports on what is truly going on behind the scenes. Support the truth and facts. Support independent media. American Liberty Radio Network. Hey, folks, how you doing? Whoa. Anyway, almost didn't hit the right button. Wow. 3rd of August, 2017. This is American Liberty Radio Network, AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. The first segment, thank you for sticking around. I talked about McMaster's engagement in treason. Yes, I said it. Send this to him. Tell him I said it. I don't care. He's a treasonous bastard that wants to side with the globalist and take down America. So there you go. I don't really care who knows about it. I know this, and probably several 100 million people know this. So, yeah. President Trump better go to him and put his finger in McMaster's chest and say, you even speak one more time, you're going to be on the unemployment line. Yeah. If I was president and I heard one of my people in my cabinet say that, or in my outside of my cabinet say that, I would make sure that he knew who was in charge. Literally. Jamie White over at Infowars.com, August 3rd, 2017. China runs drills to censor quote-unquote harmful websites. Continuation of Chi-Com internet censorship. They want that here in the United States, folks. They want that style of internet here. They want you and I not to have access to any information outside of the globalist narrative that is coming out of Washington, D.C. from the Progressive Party. China practiced taking down websites deemed harmful to the state in cohorts with internet service providers ahead of a political reshuffling of the Communist Party last year. Internet data centers were ordered by the Chinese government to participate in a 3-hour drill Thursday to refine their, quote, emergency response, unquote, skills, Reuters reported. The drill was scheduled, quote, to step up online security for the 19th Party Congress and tackle the problem of smaller websites illegally disseminating harmful information, unquote, China's public ministry said in a statement. The drill ordered internet data centers to practice shutting down target web pages and report contact information, IP address, and server information of the affected website to the police. China has been honing in on its censorship capabilities, including cracking down on VPN, virtual private networks, used to bypass internet censorship in a bid to upgrade their so-called Great Firewall. Censorship and restriction of speech by the Chinese government is nothing new. Just last month, Chinese authorities blocked all images and references to Winnie the Pooh due to Chinese bloggers mockingly comparing him to China's President Xi Jinping. The Chinese government wants not just control of the internet, but also influence in the media and entertainment industries. China has also bought a majority stake in Cinedigm Corporation, a media production company that creates shows for Netflix and other outlets to control the content of TV shows and movies in their domestic market. And China has bought up major stakes in several Hollywood studios in a bid to influence the perception of the communist state for American and global audiences. Their gradual takeover of the entertainment industry is already bearing results, as Michael Bay is set to direct a film, Little America, a dystopian thriller where America is so bankrupt that China comes in to settle its debts. Which is not too far off, folks. These actions are hallmarks of an authoritarian government that wants nothing more than complete control of the flow of information and the ability to wipe out any content that may disagree with their communist ideology. That's the whole article, folks. I just read it to you. You guys may want to go check that out yourself. It's going up on American Liberty Radio Podcast. We have McMaster's engaging in a coup against the President of the United States. We have China that is literally buying up American entertainment and information companies. And you're sitting there allowing this stuff to happen? Really? Do I need to remind you what communism, or what severe communism, extreme communism does? Do I need to remind you that the Tiananmen Square incident that happened back in the 80s? Do you know where that guy is that stood in front of that tank? They disappeared him. And he's probably dead. Let me remind you of something else closer to home. Do you know what happens to people who blow the whistle on the Clintons? There's a list, and the body count is getting larger. This is exactly what is happening when China invests in the information flow into their country and tries to influence the information flow in our country. If you go against their agenda, their narrative, whatever, guess what? They'll disappear you, or worse. Now, I had somebody post something. I was talking about drivers. Let me go here for a minute, and then I'll get back into the news. I was talking about drivers yesterday. I posted a thing on Facebook. Let me give you exactly what I said. That way, I won't have to sit here and paraphrase. But I was talking about drivers. You know, how people drive and all of that. Oh, here's another article I'm going to read real quick. Democrat militia training to start civil war using guerrilla tactics, quote, unquote, sabotage, kidnapping, executions, and terrorism. That's an act of war by the Democrats. There you go. Let me scoot on down here on my personal page and tell you what I wrote yesterday about, you know, everyday drivers, just everyday people. You drive all over town, right? You're going to the store, you're, doing stuff, right? You're driving, right? Or sometimes you take the bus. Well, that's a good option too. But my major pet peeve is people that just absolutely do not know how to drive. Okay, I am just totally against that. Okay, I have no patience. Okay, with people that do not know how to drive. I'm searching for what I wrote yesterday, and it's around here somewhere. I post so much on my personal page, Wayne S. Pierce on Facebook, that, man, I'm scrolling like crazy to find this. Oh, get this. FPC vows legal action after California Office of Administrative Law approves Department of Justice assault weapons regulations. Yeah, you want to. You're looking at several areas of dissension, or I should say, really a coup from the Democratic Party. Literally. I mean, that's the way it is. And the Democratic Party literally is imploding upon itself because they can't control what is going on. They can't. And they're going to stop at nothing to try to get things, taken care of. Well, I can't find what I wrote yesterday, but here's this thing about drivers that I just want to mention. First of all, you're driving along, you come to an intersection, okay, cool. You're in the left turn lane of that intersection, all right, cool, right? You're on the same page here, right? Somebody on the opposite street on the right-hand side goes to turn left from their left turn lane and comes inches to your car. Inches. Or you're watching someone else take a left turn and cut, from your left, from the street to the left. That person's making a left-hand turn. There's no one in the left-hand turn on the street they're turning into, but they cut off the whole thing. They cut off, lanes like crazy. Okay? I wrote about that. Somebody commented on that yesterday, and they said that I was complaining, and that's the point. They said that I just like to complain. No, I'm pointing out a fact. People don't know how to drive, period. They don't. And I honestly don't really care what people think. They don't know how to drive. I don't know how they got their license. I don't know how they passed their driving test, but they don't know how to drive. They don't. Here it is right here. Let me read it for you. And then I'll get back into the news. But a little something personal I want to share with you from August 1st, 2 days ago. I'm going to go on a rant just a bit. And I'm going to point my finger, figuratively speaking, at all those people that absolutely do not know how to drive, and you know who you are. When making a left turn, cutting off the turn lane onto the street you're turning onto is not an option. Rule of driving, 90 degrees in a left turn. And before you all say something, I don't really give one rip what you have to say. Either learn to drive or take public transportation. I said no response is necessary, thank you. You can now continue on with your continual distractions. Somebody wrote here, maybe they are following traffic rules and you are the one not driving right. Or perhaps you just like to complain. By the way, that's from William Keller, who says he's a Jesus follower. I don't really give one freaking rip at all about people's view of, their own driving because they think they're driving right and they're not. I was taught by my dad, by my brother. I took driver's education. I do the right thing. Am I one of those rare people that know how to drive? I'm beginning to believe so. And I'm in a state here, I want to also make this point too as well, and I was driving all of that to this point. And I saw a statistic about a month or so ago, a little over a month ago, where a national statistic showed that the worst drivers in America were in the state of Montana. And you know what? I live here in Billings, Montana, and I can tell you this for a fact that I've talked to dozens of other people, and let me tell you, I shouldn't say dozens. I've talked to tens, to many different people from every level, people that I meet, whatever, and people I know. And they agree. The worst drivers are in Montana. But then again, I grew up in California, so the worst drivers, I can even say it's a tie for, for that position of worst drivers in America, because California sure got some crappy drivers, man. Nobody knows how to drive. That's my rant. No one knows how to drive. I don't give one rip how many years you've been driving. If you don't drive correctly and do it the right way, and you drive 10 miles over the speed limit and you're in a residential area and all that, you know what? I hope you get one ticket a week for the next year and lose your damn license, because you obviously don't know how to drive. I try to keep it under the speed limit or even at the speed limit in residential areas. You know why? Because around here, there's cops sitting all over the place in the residential area that I live. So I'm going to keep it at the speed limit. And I was talking about people being inconvenienced in the first segment of the show. And if you really want to get tickets and be inconvenienced and have to go to traffic court and have to go to traffic school and have your insurance raised and possibly, all that, and possibly lose your license, you go right ahead and be stupid. You get behind the wheel of your 3,500-pound to 5,000-pound vehicle and you drive as crazy as you want to drive because, that's your life. Okay, so I'm just saying, that's my little rant for drivers. I wanted to get that out of the way. But there's a lot more that I wanted to talk about today. I didn't just want to rant, but I just may go into overdrive because I've ranted a little much. A little more than I wanted to. I don't usually do that much. So thank you, folks, for being patient enough to, to listen to that. CIA-sponsored ISIS MS-13 fifth column gangsters are coming. The real reason why MS-13 gangs were brought to America. That's on American Liberty Radio Podcast. You may want to check that out. The pathetic media said nothing when, one, Hillary's brother was being paid $175,000 to lift U.S. sanctions on Russia. Number two, Hillary's net worth rose by millions while she was Secretary of State. Number three, Obama's net worth rose by millions while he was president. Number four, the IRS targeted conservative groups. Number five, Eric Holder sold guns to criminal drug cartels and some killed Americans. Number six, George Soros paid protesters to riot and burn down Ferguson. Number seven, the national debt doubled under Obama. Number eight, Obama released Guantanamo Bay detainees who then went back to kill Americans. But now you want us to take you seriously when you complain about President Trump? That's on American Liberty Radio Network. Also on American Liberty Radio Network is the passing of one of the greatest journalists and writers and just a really, really intelligent person, knowing far beyond what I know and many independent journalists know, and that is Mr. Jim Marrs, legendary author. He passed away yesterday, suddenly from a heart attack. So Good thoughts go to his family. Senate passes bill requiring citizens report privately stashed cash. That's on American Liberty Radio Network as well, from truthandaction.org. Yeah, listen up, folks. Dun, da, da. I got the truth and the facts, you don't. Here it is. Senate passes bill requiring citizens report privately stashed cash. Truthandaction.org. New Senate bill will start forcing citizens to report cash and other assets not held in banks. This bill is stated to combat terrorism and money laundering. But is it? It seems to most just like another government attempt to steal assets and raise revenue for social programs, as this bill will give the government the authority to track assets and seize them should an individual fail to report independently held assets exceeding $10,000. Civil forfeiture is another word for government robbery of your cash, gold, property, and other assets. The most alarming aspect of civil forfeiture is that even a court verdict of not guilty doesn't guarantee the return of state-stolen assets. All the government has to do is suspect individuals of committing crimes to permanently confiscate your property. This brings to mind the FBI raid under former FBI Director Comey of a small Texas conservative political gathering back in 2015. Agents confiscated electronics and forcibly fingerprinted all 60 people gathered at the meeting. Now let's just suppose for a second that they found any evidence of unreported wealth during the raid. You better believe they'd have seized up all the assets. This is a very real possibility unfolding before us right now since the Senate just passed the bill. This is on American Liberty Radio Network or American Liberty Radio Podcast, so you definitely want to go check that out. Did an EPA official collude with Monsanto by tilting research? I would give that a big giant yes. That's on American Liberty Radio Podcast. The war on cars is a war on the Constitution. That's on American Liberty Radio Podcast. Twice, actually. I'm just scrolling down here. Communist China has taken control of Hollywood. I just mentioned that in an article that I read. Here's another bat crap crazy Congresswoman. Insane psychology of the left exposed. That's on American Liberty Radio Podcast. Just scroll on down. You'll find these. Putin signs bill banning web anonymizers in Russia. Yeah, there you go. And, yeah. That's on American Liberty Radio Podcast, along with the recent ones of today I posted on there. I just... Folks, you got one choice and one choice only. That's all. You got one choice and one choice only. And I'm talking specifically to the patriots out there, to the United States citizens born and raised right here in the United States. You got one choice. And you got to make a decision upon that choice. The options are there. There's many, many options, but you only have one choice within those options. And you better think about it. I said it before in the first segment. If you want to sit back and just, let all of this collapse and then deal with the ramifications afterwards and try to survive, then yeah, go ahead. Kick your shoes off, get in your recliner, watch ESPN, and look out the window every once in a while to watch your neighborhood get destroyed. Go ahead. Go ahead and do that. Or do you want to get up and actually do something for a change? Do you really want to make a difference? How much difference can one person make? A lot. When you combine those concepts and you combine those efforts with other people who want the same thing, of course. Okay? Differences can be made. Changes can be made. Certain things can be overcome. And I can almost, I'm not going to guarantee this because I can't guarantee anything. So let me rephrase this. I can almost say, or almost assure you, that the effort made to protect this country is going to be the most positive end that you have ever seen to any conflict the United States of America has ever encountered in the last 241 years. Okay? Not a lot of people, I mean, I said it before in the beginning, in the first segment. People don't want to be inconvenienced. They don't want to be inconvenienced. Hell, I don't want to be inconvenienced, but I got to do something. You know? Let me ask you, law enforcement personnel that are out there, you men and women that are out there protecting our streets, thank you very much, by the way, but let me ask you a question. When you put on that uniform at your house and you walk out that door and you get in your car, or in some cases you're in your street clothes, you get in your car and you go to the station and you put on that uniform in the locker room, and you walk out that door into that street, and you start, and you know for a fact you have to protect people. Do you ever wonder whether or not you're going to make it home that day? And before you even thought about putting on that uniform, and you thought about becoming a police officer, a law enforcement officer, did you understand the risks involved? Did you ever think in your own mind that, oh my God, I don't want to do this because it's going to inconvenience me? No. Your thought was, people need to be protected. The city has to be protected. These neighborhoods have to be protected. And in some cases, like here in Montana, there are people in neighborhoods that can protect the police, that can protect the law enforcement officers that come into the neighborhood. So I'm just saying, we got you covered, okay? But have you ever thought about just how, did you ever think that you would ever be inconvenienced when you put on that uniform to go out to protect the city? And again, it goes back to, what can one person do? How much difference can one person do? Again, collectively as a group of people who do the right thing, know how to do the right thing, and protect those people that need protecting, yeah, you're doing the right thing. It's not an inconvenience. And you will make a difference. Even though you're one person among many, you will make that difference. You can either make a difference with a mother who's having trouble with her ex or something of that nature. You have to follow the law. You have to be there for the people, for the citizens. But did you ever think it was going to be an inconvenience for you to do that? That's a good question. American Liberty Radio Podcast on Facebook. Drop your comments in there. American Liberty Radio Podcasts on Facebook. Drop your comments in there. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the show. Again, let me apologize for taking so long to rant about stuff. I don't usually take that long. I get into more news. So you know what? I'm going to take a break at the top of the hour. It's going to be a 3-minute break. Well, something. I guess I'll throw something in here for you. And, and I'll talk a little more about the news that I haven't covered in this past hour. So, yeah. So, anyway, Let me do that. So I'll be back right after this. This is American Liberty Radio Network, AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. Don't go away. I will return.
The world is under siege. The globalists want more from the people, and they will stop at nothing to get it. Between starting wars and demolishing nations, they will destroy most of the industrialization of the world and enslave the masses to do their bidding. It is now time to stand and defend the basic principles of freedom, of liberty, and bring peace and security to our lives.
It is now time for all of humanity to take notice. The globalists are systematically destroying everything in their path to achieve their domination over everyone and every country. Our personal freedoms are at stake, and the game they're playing is only going to end when they destroy over 90% of the world's population.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
So this is how liberty dies. With thunderous applause.
The Truth Experience. TheTruthExperience.weebly.com. On American Liberty Radio Network. AmericanLibertyRadio.com.
What happened in Dallas, Texas is a tragedy. What happened after it and what the government is doing is treasonous. The citizens of the United States of America need to band together, put aside their differences and work together to stop the tyrannical government from taking over. The vast majority of the people know that what happened was a false flag perpetrated by our own government. Did people lose their lives? Yes. It is only collateral damage to the elites who planned and implemented this situation as well as other events across the nations. Their plan is to ban and confiscate weapons from the general citizenry of the United States of America, as we the people stand by and watch our country, our homes, be destroyed. The elites are buying and building underground bunkers and other secure compounds around the world. Many elites have bought property in Belize, New Zealand, parts of Europe and various parts of the U.S. It will be the people of the United States of America who will rise up and defend this country, their country, from the onslaught of the tyrannical political principles that are currently the basis for this fascist regime. It is the people that will stand and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from domestic enemies that have engaged in crimes against the citizens of the United States of America and have participated with others to suppress any uprising not only within our own borders but in other countries as well. We the people have the power, for we are America.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Growing up terrestrial radio. The future is here. Destroying the liberal media, one truth bomb at a time. Independent media is shattering the liberal national security media into a million pieces. Their views of the world are based on the script the government gives them. Independent media seeks out and finds the truth and reports on what is truly going on behind the scenes. Support the truth and facts. Support independent media. American Liberty Radio Network. Hey folks, this is American Liberty Radio Network. This is the 3rd of August 2017. How are ya? You can go to our website if you're not already there at AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. Yeah, how are ya? How you doing? Me not doing so good because I got this phlegmy crap going on and I got my nose all, Anybody got any remedies for that? Not the neti pot. That thing is just pain in the butt. I don't know. Anyway. So how you doing on this 3rd of August 2017? You doing good? Awesome. Cool. By the way, the music you're hearing is a piece called Stalling by Topher Moore and Alex Elena. That's Stalling by Topher Moore and Alex Elena. You can find that on YouTube. Yeah. Anywho. There you go. This is American Liberty Radio Network. AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. Oh, man. Thank you for joining me today. Appreciate that very much. You guys simply rock. I get the statistics on the Spreaker side of things to show where my show is being heard and all of that, and the network is being heard. And let me tell you, all over the world. I'm talking all over the world. I mean, especially here in Billings, Montana. Holy mackerel. I am not kidding you, folks. I mean, a lot of you people out there really like this show, so I appreciate you. And if you appreciate the show, please consider supporting it. Thank you. Appreciate that very, very much. Oh, my goodness, folks. Yeah, statistics are really cool because I can look at it and go, okay, so they're listening. Well, that's interesting. Let me hit the geolocation tab on the Spreaker side of things, and I'll tell you, 68.17% of my listeners are in Billings, Montana. And 95.01% of my listeners are in the United States of America. Oh, yeah. Excuse me. See the phlegmy crap coming up again. I'm heard in Canada, United Kingdom, France, Mexico, Australia, Norway, Bolivia, Finland, and China. They're going to crack down on that pretty damn quick, aren't they, in China? Yeah, because they probably own about 25% of all entertainment and media here in the United States. So they're going to crack down on a lot. So look for if I don't see that statistic from China next week, I'm going to know that they cracked down on it. So there we go. Yeah, China's cracking down on the internet. And some of the politicians here, the globalists, the progressives in the United States want Chinese-style internet here in the United States. Let's not allow that to happen. Unless you people don't really care, then obviously. Dan Lyman over at Infowars.com, 3rd August 2017. MSNBC panel savages CNN's obnoxious idiot, Jim Acosta, after latest tantrum. Even MSM is embarrassed by fellow fake news reporter. Multiple journalists in a panel discussion on MSNBC's Morning Joe expressed their embarrassment with CNN's Jim Acosta after his latest outburst in the White House, where he was soundly whipped by 31-year-old immigrant expert and top Trump advisor Stephen Miller. Excuse me. Quote, "It was a very spirited debate between two very spirited ideologues on the issue of immigration, and one of those very spirited ideologues happened to be a supposedly objective news reporter for CNN, Jim Acosta," unquote, said Tim Carney, an editor at the Washington Examiner. Quote, "This is why people hate the press," unquote. Well, I'm just going to put that on American Liberty Radio podcast for you. I'm going to let you see that on your own. All right. There we go. It's on American Liberty Radio podcast. Go look it up. The media is failing miserably in their main purpose when, journalism and all of that began, hundreds of years ago. Their main purpose was to journal the happenings around the cities. That's where you get the journalist part. They journal. What do you do when you write a journal? You say, well, I did this today and my friends were there. You're telling a story, right? So this is where the idea of journalism came from, because they're journaling their day. These journalists are. Now it went from doing that to identifying the truth and the facts. It went from that to what we have now, which is a bunch of fake news and bull crap and everything else. And, it's ridiculous. I mean, the mainstream propaganda media is failing miserably, but they don't really care. They don't. CNN has lost hundreds of thousands of viewers. MSNBC has lost hundreds of thousands of viewers. Fox News has lost many different viewers. And, people like Sean Hannity, who's pretty much saying what has to be said, and Fox is a little ticked off at him, but, he doesn't care. He's got his own thing going on, but he's still on Fox News. I would say, skip the mainstream and go independent. So you pass that on to Sean Hannity if you know him. If you can email this, I'm just going to say, Sean Hannity, skip the mainstream, go independent. You'd be a hell of a lot better off, I'm telling you. Reporting from the Washington Post, 9/11 tribute at SMU, quote-unquote, triggering liberal students. SMU apologized for the language about displays being, quote-unquote, triggering or harmful in its new policy. Texas Governor Greg Abbott appealed Wednesday to Southern Methodist University to reverse a new policy decision that is forcing a change in location on campus for the annual 9/11 memorial display of American flags by a student group. The tribute of nearly 3,000 small flags, quote, that honor the lives lost on that terrible day, unquote, are traditionally displayed on SMU's Dallas Hall lawn, according to the campus charter of Young Americans for Freedom, which sponsors the memorial. Last month, SMU decided to prohibit displays on that prime site, saying the university, quote, respects the right of all members of the community to avoid messages that are triggering, harmful, or harassing, unquote. Can't make this stuff up, folks. Were students on the Dallas campus really that fragile years after the 2001 terrorist attack? Many students were skeptical of that reasoning and winced at the headlines that followed, such as, quote, 9/11 memorial flags may be too much for some students, must be moved, MSU says, unquote. Okay, excuse me. It says read more. And there is a video accompanying this article, so I will put that on American Liberty Radio podcast. It's incredible to me, folks, that now no matter what, if you're in the vicinity of a hardcore leftist liberal and you're breathing, you're triggered them in some way. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Yeah. Get this. The Daily Express is reporting buyer's remorse. French President Macron's popularity hits new low in embarrassing poll. Approval rating quickly sinks to 1/3. Emmanuel Macron's approval rating has plunged to a new low, with only a little more than 1/3 of French voters saying they approve of the new French president's performance, according to a new poll. Mr. Macron's popularity rating slumped by 7 percentage points in July to 36%, according to the YouGov poll published today for Huffington Post France and C News. Almost half of French voters, polled 49%, said they disapprove of the job he's doing as president. To add insult to injury, the new president is now slightly less popular than his conservative prime minister, right-winger Edouard Philippe. Of those polled, 37% said Mr. Philippe was doing a good job as Mr. Macron's right-hand man. There's a video accompanying that article, folks, so I will definitely put that on American Liberty Radio podcast. See, we're not the only ones in the world who have crappy leaders. And I'm not talking about President Trump, but he's not perfect. But, some of the things I disagree with him on, that's fine. But he's not crappy at all. He's doing everything he can to drain the swamp. But unfortunately, the leftist, globalist progressives in Washington, D.C. are trying to stop him. McMaster's, just if you were here in the first segment, McMaster's is really staging and engaging in treasonous actions by, implementing a coup against the President of the United States of America. No, I'm not kidding you. Go look that up. It's on American Liberty Radio podcast. Just scroll on down, you'll find it. NPR, you know that. NPR.org is reporting Canada turns Olympic Stadium into welcome center for quote-unquote refugees from the U.S. Self-deportation increasing under President Trump. It's all, yeah. Let me read this. I got something to say. Let me read this. Faced with a flood of asylum seekers traveling from the United States into Quebec, Canada, local authorities have repurposed Montreal's Olympic Stadium and turned it into a refugee welcome center. A spokesman for PREDA, the local government agency that helps refugees, tells the CBC more than 1,000 asylum seekers crossed the border into Quebec last month. Quote, in comparison, PREDA helped 180 people in July of 2016, unquote, the CBC writes. Excuse me, the vast majority of asylum seekers are Haitian, who initially fled to the devastating earthquake of 2010 and whose future status in the U.S. is unclear under the Trump administration. The surge of refugees overwhelmed by the YMCA facilities that are normally used to temporarily house new arrivals. I'm sure there's a Clinton connection there. Haitians, the Clinton Foundation was tasked with helping them rebuild Haiti after the earthquake in 2010. Guess what? About 90% of that money went into the Clintons' pockets, and very few of those dollars went into helping the Haitian government. So there you go. I'm just gonna pass that article up. I'll read you the headline, but I won't post it. Fired FBI Director James Comey signs book deal. Negotiations top $2 million. Comey is writing a book about, quote, leadership and decision-making, unquote, due to be published in the spring. Yeah. Okay, just going to leave that there for you. New calls for criminal investigation of Obama aides in quote-unquote unmasking scandal. In a letter Tuesday to the National Security Agency, the California Republican requested the agency report on improper quote-unquote unmasking request made by Ben Rhodes. Now, that's a big deal. Daily Caller is reporting this on the 3rd of August 2017. New calls are coming in for the Justice Department to launch a criminal investigation into the unmasking scandal swirling around a cluster of former Obama administration officials, the Daily Caller News Foundation investigative group has learned. The calls came as House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence Chairman Devin Nunes identified a fourth Obama national security official as a person of interest who improperly unmasked Trump officials and leaked the information to the news media. In a letter Tuesday to the National Security Agency, the California Republican requested the agency report on improper unmasking requests made by Ben Rose, former President Barack Obama's Deputy National Security Advisor for Strategic Communications, according to Circa. As such, he was the number 2 ranking official on the National Security Council. Rhodes' name is now added to 3 other top Obama national security officials who are accused of improperly requesting the identities of Trump officials whose phone calls were intercepted by the NSA. Those names were later leaked to the media. Let me put that up there. It has a video associated with the article, so let me put that up there as well. On American Liberty Radio Podcast on Facebook. There it is. That's a big deal, man. Here it is. Here's another one from Breitbart.com. 3rd of August 2017, there's a report out. McMaster fired National Security Council official for penning memo on globalists. Quote, globalists and Islamicists recognize that for their visions to succeed, America, both as an ideal and as a national and political identity, must be destroyed, unquote. I'm not even going to read anything from that. I want you to read that, assess the situation, and draw your own conclusion. I got a lot to do in the studio today, and I just want to read one more article that passed my eyes here as I was scrolling down on Infowars.com. Europe's cities absorb Sharia law. Paris has said au revoir to sexist ads on public billboards. Yeah, that's a headline there. I'm not going to post that one because that's not important, because people are just too stupid to sit there in France and, take it, They did when Germany invaded them in World War II. It's just, whatever. And yeah. So Nancy Pelosi, here's the one I wanted to, because I want to show you the complete idiocy of the Democratic Party, including this crazy bat crap woman, Nancy Pelosi. Into the AmericanDream.com, Michael Snyder reports Nancy Pelosi could soon be the Speaker of the House, and that should freak you out. If nothing dramatically changes between now and the 2018 midterm elections, the Democrats will likely win a huge victory. Yeah, that's just the headline. Go read this and assess the situation on your own and check it out, and yeah, do something about it, because if you're just going to sit there with your finger up your nose and say, it'll work itself out. Yeah, right. No, it won't. That's on American Liberty Radio Podcast. There you go. There you go, folks. There it is, right there. Investigative journalist and author Jim Marrs passed away yesterday from a sudden heart attack. He was battling some other, issues and health issues, and yeah. So, positive thoughts and going out to his family and friends and colleagues in the independent media. A lot going on, folks. There's a lot that we have to pay attention to. There's a lot that we have to really, really, really pay attention to. But unfortunately, there is two groups of people out there. There are patriots like myself and others in the independent media and who are standing strong to, well, basically wait. And they're waiting because they can't do anything at the moment. I'm just going to leave it right there. They can't do anything at the moment. And there are the other half of the people in this country want to completely collapse the nation of the United States of America, turn it into the North American Union, into a third world crap hole like everything else in the world, and turn this country upside down into a Marxist, communist, tyrannical system to where they hope they get everything they want for free. When in fact, if they understand tyranny at all, and if they understand communism at all, or any brand of totalitarianism, they're going to have a rude awakening waiting for them. And if you go get a job, you're going to be working for the state. And if you go try to find a career, and if you're not part of the elites in that upper echelon of society, you ain't getting crap. You're going to be struggling every day to put food on your table. You really want that? Because that's what you're going to get. All those people that are siding with that type of society and who want tyranny and who want everybody else to shut the hell up and we're going to end your free speech and they just want free speech for themselves, and it goes down the line of so many different ideals that I guarantee you they're going to wind up waking up one morning and realizing they were completely and utterly wrong. I guarantee it. So many people from various walks of life have woken up to the fact that what they thought and what they believed and what they understood to be true was literally part of the indoctrination and the governmental indoctrination institutes that they went to. It's the leftist progressive people who want everyone to bow down to them, and you don't speak unless they give you permission to. This is exactly what the followers of Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton, any number of people who follow them, this is what they want. That faction of people in the United States of America want me, want you, want Michael Savage, want Alex Jones, want Rush Limbaugh, or any number of people. Those people over there on that side of America want us to shut up. And they're doing everything they can to make that happen. Well, we're not shutting up. We're not going to shut up. We are going to get in their faces. We are going to get up in their faces. We are going to put our fingers in their chest. We are going to make them shut up. And if they don't, we are going to find every criminal element that is supporting them, and we will tear them a new one. That is exactly who we are, because we're not going to put up with the tyrannical bullcrap coming out of the leftist progressives. Oh, and that includes the Republican Party. Let me reiterate something to you. The Democratic Socialists and the Republican Fascists belong to one party, the Progressive Party, who are leaning far, far left, because that's what they are. Their philosophies are leaning more for communism than there is that are leaning, as I said, they're leaning more for communism than they are leaning for peace, freedom, liberty, and security for the United States under the Constitution of the United States prior to 1871, mind you. They don't care. They're going to ruin this country. They want to destroy this country and bring you, the patriots, to your knees so that you worship them. And again, like I said, you don't have a word to say because you need their permission to say it. You really want to live that way? And let me just sum it up in one little phrase. Chinese-style internet. That's what they want in the United States of America. Well, we're just cutting down on, the terrorism and recruitment of terrorism. No, you're not. Shut the hell up. I already know what you guys are up to. You want to shut down everything. Period. So shut your damn mouths, you leftist progressives, because you're stupid. Every single last one of you. Oh, don't get me started. I'll go another half hour. I'm going to get out of here. I went into overdrive, gave you some headlines. American Liberty Radio podcast on Facebook. Check it out. AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com is the website. And folks, I'm here every day. American Liberty Radio Network. AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. Sharing the truth one fact at a time without all the BS.